Please stand and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This session of the Lincoln County Commission on December the 6th, 2012 at 6 p.m. is now called to order. Members present is Darrell Baker, Clerk; Charles McCann, President; Charles Vance, Commissioner; KK Matthews, Commissioner. First thing on the agenda, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of the Lincoln County Commission meeting that was held on November the 15th, 2012 at 10 a.m.
Moved. All second. Being all yes vote, motion carries.
Discussion of concern, vacancy of the Deputy Director for the Lincoln County Office of Emergency Services.
We've had some discussion with the Health Department and with Mr. Holder, trying to come up with some contingency plan, something to deal with if emergencies come up. And if we talked previously, there hasn't been anyone in that position and for probably close to 2 years, year and a half. And according to Alan, basically we get reimbursed for money spent up to 50% during the actual hours of time involved in emergency or emergency planning. So it would be, I've asked him to put something together in the way of a job description, what he foresees that would be required, and what he thinks would work for Lincoln County, and get that to us hopefully by the first of the year so that we can have a position to post if the commission decides that's what direction they want to go. But he feels that we should have someone in that position for different reasons, but mostly to give direction, make sure we have whatever planning can be done, taken care of, and have those people involved that can be of help, and maybe help coordinate things better with the health department. There has been some breakdown. That was part of the reason we met this last week, was trying to make sure that the Director of Health and Alan establish some type of understanding, put it in writing, some type of memorandum of understanding, and get that signed and bring it to the commission to look at it and adopt it and make sure that that's followed, because it's a little bit of time wasted or moving in the wrong direction could affect a lot of people. So I think as I left the meeting, I felt like both of them were agreeable, that it could be worked out, just a matter of establishing whose territory, whose responsibility, and how everybody played into that role. So that's about all I have on that.
Next thing on the agenda is Robert's Rules of Order for Small Board, Lincoln County Commission meeting.
We had a training piggyback with Commissioner Matthews, and heard some pretty good discussion about the advantages of a small board, us being as small as you can get, pretty much with 3 elected officials. And wanted to, we discussed it a little bit at the meeting, how it might work for us, and felt like maybe we should make it a discussion item, how you might conduct it, how you might rearrange the agenda, and I think Judy's done some additional work on that, trying to look at it and see if it works for everybody. But basically, we may need to just have a little bit of discussion here from KK and from Judy about how they perceived it, what they thought the advantages were, and how it might want to play here.
Oh, you at the meeting, the presenter that was there, I can't remember what county he was from, I have it written down, but from what he was, John Serena from
Brooke, I believe.
Yeah. But anyway, he was basically talking about the different, I guess the different ways to conduct meetings. And that there are several different ways to conduct meetings, and it just depends on what rules that you adopt, okay, whenever there is a meeting. And I think that basically, from what I took from the presentation, the Robert's Rules of Order is just so that you can actually, so everybody's on the same page, you know what the rules of the meeting are, and it's a simplistic way to actually make your meeting move forward. And I think that after listening to the presentation, I think that maybe that's something that we should consider. I think there's, from what he was telling, what he was actually saying in the meeting, is there's some material that you can get on Amazon, and that actually specifically has, that is specifically set up for the Robert's Rules of Order for small boards. And I talked to Ms. Johnson about it, about maybe getting that book so we can review the book, so everybody can look at it and see if we all agree on that. But I don't know. From what this guy's telling me, I think that it sounds really good. But maybe I think we all need to, you know, Dr. Vans was there. He wasn't able to hear the presentation. But, maybe we can look at the book and see if we can all agree on it.
Yeah, there's, and in this discussion, Judy had some different takes how it affect her as administrator. Do you want to share those?
Well, the preparation of the agenda would be totally different from what the audience is used to, and as well as the commissioners here. It would just be a listing of items. There would be no motions made in the meeting. There would be no seconds made in the meeting. If everyone was agreeable, then there would just be a list of items, and they'd be approved as the president would state in a stand. And then it wouldn't, the minutes would not reflect any motions or seconds. It would just detail what was taken care of in the meeting. And there would be no orders to sign. However, I don't like that there's no orders. I think that the commission should always have orders, because when we have appointments to different boards and things, that's how I send those orders, to let them know that this person has been approved to that board or setting as that board. Excuse me, but it would be up to the commission how you would want to handle it.
Well, there's actually, I mean, this presenter actually gave us some material on this, and I think, you know, if we get the book, and look at the book, it actually talks about the order of motions, if there is to be motions to be made, who's, you know, on the floor to speak, who is not, and it just seems to me to be a simplistic way to actually make your meetings move forward.
And this guy said he would come down if we'd invite him, I believe, and if we decide to want to move in that direction, we want him to come down, because he works for the auditor, and he said he'd be willing to come down and discuss it. But it's a different approach, and it's just, you know, all we have adopted and passed is Robert's Rule, but we don't follow it completely. We follow it pretty close, but it's just whatever can make it work to get the meeting in place, make sure that people understand that we're not trying to do anything to keep them from being participatory in the meeting. I think it's definitely worth looking into, and Judy, I'd ask her today if she'd found the book. She has not found anything yet.
No, the only thing I've found is just like a couple of print-offs on it. Also, the public, if you were not on the agenda, you would speak before the county commission would call the meeting to order. And that would be a different there. The commission wouldn't be able to take up any business that you discuss.
Of course, it could be an advantage that you wouldn't have to sit through a meeting either if you got your business in early and you could move on.
I think there might be several ways to go with that too.
Yeah, I think we need to look at it, like we were talking there. I want to make sure that, you know, whatever we do, we have something in place to where we can have input from the public on what our decisions might be. And I know sometimes that can drag on and things like that, but I think we're here to represent the interests of the public, so we should make sure that whatever procedures we have allow us to consider those interests and things of that nature, so. But I do think that, it's always good to go into any kind of a meeting knowing the process that you're going to be involved in and where you can interject and things like that, and where the public's, because a lot of my decisions I make, I wait till I hear from the people that are here and things like that, and I know that helps me a lot in trying to make a decision on things, so. But I do think as far as, and I think that, for the most part, our meetings run pretty efficiently and things like that, but I do think that there's always room for an improvement, there's always room to look and see if there's things we can do to make it better.
Okay, and, thinking we're coming to an end of a year, and we're gonna start a new approach with the commission, with starting a new January, we have to reorganize, and maybe between now and then, all we need to do is find out what we can, and maybe it might be good if we have even a work session or something, if we could schedule that to talk about these things before January, so we could, whatever we're going to adopt and change, we have it ready for then, so just keep that, sort of might make it work out. This guy Sereni used to be on the county commission up there. He, I think, works for the auditor's office now, and he, pretty good communicator, understands the ins and outs of small boards for sure. That's all I have.
And I will continue looking for those books, and once I find it, if I can, I'll get copies of them and send them to you.
Just email him. He has, just email
Yeah.
him. He'll get it to you.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, hiring of an engineering company for our architectural design for the new judicial building. As commissioners, you know that we have two companies that were interested in their architectural design. We have Thrasher Engineering and E.L. Robinson. When we went to the meetings in Bridgeport, myself, Mr. McCann, Mr. Matthews interviewed Thrasher Engineering. And then when we came back on Monday, Mr. McCann and myself, we interviewed E.L. Robinson. So I'll let you take it from there.
Well, both of them I thought were good. That's, Thrasher presented a good program. It seemed like they were highly interested in coming down and working with us. They've done some water work with us, and some of that's been, very good. Some of it maybe lacked a few things. Same way with E.L. Robinson. They've done lots of projects with us. I couldn't really decide one way or the other than E.L. Robinson's closer. But other than that, I don't have a lot of one way or the other.
Well, I think, I didn't want to interject. Okay. But I think maybe, we need to get these guys down here and let Doc Vance listen to what Thrasher can do and what E.L. Robinson can do. Maybe we can schedule some type of work session, or maybe they can come down to our next board meeting and actually present. Maybe we come in a little bit early.
We can invite them.
Yeah, just invite them, and I think that would probably be best, that way we can kind of get the feel for both of
How
them.
much we talking about this might cost us?
Well, they really didn't give us, either one said really the way you hire them, and they basically can do it on a lump sum, or they can do it on a percentage, but they never tell you exactly, but it all depends on how big a project you got, I'm sure. But I think we're probably talking about $300,000-400,000 to get things ready, as far as the elevator and all that. So with that, I mean, if they're charging 6%.
So they probably could. So I don't remember the guys at Thrash. I mean, I remember some negative things, and I don't remember exactly what they were, and I just,
Well,
did you, I mean, as far as, I feel more comfortable with E.L. Robinson, but I just wonder, are they gonna both provide the same things? and
both of them, we pretty much asked them, can you do pieces of it, because we may want to do, like the wiring or the electrical type stuff, we may want to just do that as a separate contract. We might want to do the elevator separate contract. Would you be willing to make sure this is designed and ready in a bid package so that local people could bid on it? What we told them. Both of them said, yeah, we can do that. There's no, they seem to think that would be fine. And of course, Junior, she's fooled with this before she made room when I came down. But that's basically how I seen it was, both of them said they could present, they could do however we wanted, of course, they kept telling us we were in charge, and they'd work to suit us,
How are we on the timeline as far as?
Well, the church is hoping to be out there with it, I think, the end of this month, is that right? So what we need to be ready to do, I think, is, in order to, I guess, claim our space back here, we need to get things done to get the family court system over there. And so I'd anticipate as soon as we can give a contract to the engineering group or the architectural group, they could have us something in 6 weeks to look at. Basically, what they've told us, they could have something sketched out. Here's what, and you tell us this is what you have in mind. Both of them said they'd be willing to meet with the people involved. We wanted that to happen. We wanted the family court system, meet with the judge and even the people from Supreme Court for our specifications. And then the magistrates later on, that would be a different phase, but it's part of it. But we felt like we did get the family court first, and then we moved on down the line to the magistrate court. But both of them said they could do that.
Is Lewis still working with them?
Yeah, Randall. He was with, he and an engineer and an architect did the presentation. Pretty much what we ran into up there, it was basically the same
Did
thing.
you all get anything on paper from them or anything?
Yeah,
This is the one we got from Thrasher.
and here's Robinson's there, I'll hit you on that.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you all review this, we might not have to have them come here. I mean, if I had some chance to review it
Oh, yeah.
myself.
Why don't you
look at it.
take it and look at it, and then maybe at the next meeting, we can, in
Yeah.
between, have questions, let's try to answer them and have
That would be
something
good,
ready.
because I may have something to ask you guys about what they might have said and things like that. So, does that sound all right to you?
Yeah, it's fine. We don't, timeline on this says, we have a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just like to have something ready first of the year, hopefully.
Well, I'll go ahead and review it and then I'll
Okay.
get back to you guys.
Next thing on the agenda is, of course, I call it old business, but it's supposed to be unfinished business.
Yeah, we did learn a few things from wording too.
That's right, that's right. Nice to meet you, Mr. Matthews. I'm Ryan Jefferson, working with the Lincoln County Green Wastewater Project. Hey, I bet you once before, Darrell, but nice to meet you again. And so just to give you a little bit of background, Mr. Matthews,